Good morning and welcome to this live broadcast. I'm MJ Lifestylist coming to you from my home and studio in Bournemouth in the UK. And we begin this morning, like with every morning, with an attitude of gratitude. What does this mean? This means that we are actually able to show gratitude for the things that we have received and also for the things that we've yet to receive. It sounds like a weird concept, but it is true and it is very, very plausible. So why not begin this morning by sharing the 3 things that you can think of that you are grateful for this morning. Pop them up on screen. Let's have a chat about them. Let's see where we go with them. That's 3 things that you are grateful for this morning. And we will have a bit of a chat. I'm going to do some oracle cards. We're going to have some conversation and see where our conversation takes us this morning. Music is a great catalyst for how we're feeling. It's a great way of remembering fond memories, sad memories from our past. We always attach feeling to music, and so it's always a good way to really link in with how we are feeling, how we are behaving, all our memories, etc., etc. So what songs do you find really take you back to a time in your life? What song or what music is a really good vehicle for you to remember or reminisce or link in with a period in your life? What song? Daisy says, I'm grateful for the healthy birth of my new cousin. Grateful for the day ahead of me and for my friends old and new. Cool. I think she means for me and for my friends old and new, but that's okay. Good morning, Daisy. Morning, everybody else. I can't see who else is here because people are hiding. Hey, Tony Fleming. How are you this morning? I'm going to pop up a card, seeing as we've got conversation going. What 3 things are you grateful for today, and what music has played a role in your life? What music has played a role in your life? It's an interesting question because you'd find it's when you start to think about it, you'll start to remember more and more things. But like for me, the first sort of song that ever had any real permanent relevance to me was Amazing Grace, because it was played at my grandmother's funeral, and I remember that as clearly as if I was back there, and that was when I was 10, 11 years old, and I remember it as clearly as then, and every time I hear that song I think about that event. So that for me is my first sort of memory link for music, is Amazing Grace, and how it just shuddered right through me when I was so young, and hearing that and being part of that. So yeah. Morning, Carly. Good morning, Karen. Grateful for my spiritual practice, opportunities, and connections. Absolutely. I find the cat Stevens always reminds me of my childhood and spending time with my daddy. Amazing. Morning, Victoria. How are you? Lovely to see you, or to read you. Lovely to read you. So, what 3 things are we grateful for, and what music emotes feeling with us? What's our earliest memory of a song or group or type of music that really takes you back to a time in your life? How do you connect music to your life? I mean, the rest of my life has been full of it, and it's interesting that you'll always go back to certain music as well. You know, if you're feeling a certain way, you will find the music that matches the feeling for you. So that is really, really interesting, I think. We're going to find a card for everyone now. Hey, Claire Whitchurch. I'm very well, thanks, Victoria. Very, very well, thank you. Very, very well. Doing my thing. Beating my drum. Carrying on. Facing the front. I started listening to my first audiobook yesterday, and that was quite interesting as an exercise. I've never listened to an audiobook before, bought 14 of them, and then cancelled my subscription. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work my way through them, and hopefully by the end of that, work out whether or not I want to continue with Audible, and then might go back to it. But for now, Audible, she's unplugged, but I still have access to all the books that I bought, which is great. Morning, hun. Better grateful for my car, the food in my fridge, and the fridge itself to keep things fresh. Amazing. Really, really cool. Really, really cool. Right, let's pick a card for this morning. The first card we've got is Into the Unknown. Now that's interesting. Card number 7. And 7 is all about transformation and metamorphosis. Right? Into the unknown. She's blindfolded. She's got a bird to her side. She actually has a key hanging from one of her hands with little wings on it. But she's in this ball gown and she's dressed up with nowhere to go kind of thing. She's on a balcony. And so Into the Unknown for me is all about, you have all the answers you seek within you, number 1. Number 2, it's that idea of being all dressed up and nowhere to go. Always be ready for change, always be ready for new things, and how you kind of respond to that, etc. And then of course it's called Into the Unknown, and I'd be remiss, especially with our music link that we're talking about this morning, I'd be remiss to not mention that Into the Unknown is actually a song from Frozen 2. So if you've got children, you'd know it. If you haven't got children, it's a beautiful, beautiful song that they've written, obviously, specifically for the movie. And I have just learnt it as part of my repertoire, and it is gorgeous. So whenever I read the card Into the Unknown, my brain automatically goes into the musical version of it, and I have this track playing in my head, which has become somewhat of a little in-house joke with me. But another example of how music can emote us. Grateful for my little Sasha, as always. A good cup of morning coffee and meditation. Amazing. Carly says, music is the best medicine. Bob Marley holds a special place in my heart. My dad always played him when we were kids. Now when I miss him, I play Bob Marley, Three Little Birds, and I feel close to him. Now that's interesting, because reggae music is one of the big emotive types of music, Bob Marley being reggae. Carly, my dad's favorite band was UB40. So when I want to sort of remember my dad, think of my dad, etc., I'll play UB40. So also play reggae music to feel closer to my dad. For my mum, who's still alive, it's things like Patsy Cline, Dolly Parton, those kinds of things, which hold big childhood memories for me, because my mum used to have the tapes, believe it or not, tape deck tapes of Patsy Cline, Dolly Parton, and then eventually got CDs of them. But that used to be playing every Saturday morning. That would play through the house because my mum would be cleaning or tidying or doing something, and just having this music wafting through the house. So it actually makes up quite a bit of my repertoire as well. The music of my ancestors, the music of my people before me. Victoria says, keys keep popping up for me right now. Well, that's interesting, Victoria. Keys are often an indicator, obviously, of keys, locked doors, keys, locks, that kind of thing, treasure chests, etc. But keys are also, like, sort of spiritually, they're about, you have the keys around you and within you. You are the key to unlocking your own destiny. You are the key to unlocking the answers that you seek. So they become a personalized item, or they become a personal emotive tool, because we have the keys within us, and often we forget. We look elsewhere for answers. We look to other people for answers. We look to other situations. We compare ourselves to others. We do all of these things when actually the answers lie within us, and we have the key. We just have to figure out how to use it and how to make use of it. So keys are important when we see them, to remind us that we actually are the keys that we need. We are the key we need to unlock the answers within ourselves. The key is finding the right combination, or understanding our purpose. That would unlock things. I hope that helps, Victoria. One of my favorite songs is I'm Not in Love by 10cc. Reminds me of a truly carefree time in life. Amazing. That's really amazing. I like that. Thank you, Martin. Only a pleasure. Only a pleasure. So the things we're grateful for, and then the music. What about the music? Tell me about the music. Let's have a look at the soundtrack of your lives. Memories of country music as well as 60s music. Yeah, from my parents. I love music generally. Very mixed selection. I do too. Music is definitely good well-being. I think music has the power to, music has such an amazing power because it's audible, first of all. So you can hear it personally on your own, or you can hear it collectively, or live. I think that music will always evoke feelings within people. I mean, not everyone subscribes to every type of music. I can't listen to heavy metal, death metal, things like that, where people are, to my mind, screaming, shouting at a microphone, banging things, crashing things. I don't see the relevance therein. But similarly, people can't see the relevance in musicals or opera or acoustic music or jazz, you know. So we all certainly plug into music, pardon the pun, at different points. And so too with our lives. We're all unique and different. Our music taste is very eclectic. I say our because of Andrew. And collectively, we physically own over 600 CDs and about 1,500 DVDs. And that's no joke. That's literally, we have a full bookshelf in the lounge of just CDs, and then we have 4 bookshelves full of DVDs down the hallway. And they're relevant to us because we both enjoy film and we both enjoy music. And from time to time, we will pull out a whole lot of CDs and play them, or a whole lot of movies and, go through them. We also have a record player. We're very lucky to have a functioning record player. So we've found some vinyl that we really and truly like. And there's nothing better than listening to a vinyl record, even with like the little scratch noise and whatever. It's just so authentic, and it takes me back to my childhood and listening to records on my grandparents' record player. They had like storybook records for us and music records, obviously, but it was so lovely to be able to listen to those as a child, and so for me, it's just really lovely to have the ability to access the music of my life and the music of my story. What is the soundtrack to my life, and how does that equate with who I am now and where I am now? What songs have made me? What music has made me? What interaction with people through music, when I've done musicals or concerts or choirs, that's brought me to different people and different viewpoints. And so it's really, really interesting for me. Music for me is a great catalyst. I'm loving Love is Like a Butterfly by Dolly at the moment. Reminds me of childhood and fills me with loving feeling like this. Love is like a butterfly, so soft and gentle in the sky. I think it goes like that. Love it, love it, love it. Love music, the melody first, then the words. Very synchronistic, as carries you back to memories, absolutely, and people, and reminds us where we've been and how far we've come. Yeah, I'll sometimes hear a song and I'll go, oh my gosh, on this day I was at this place doing this. You're very right, Sue. It has the ability to, without you having to go anywhere or do anything, because you sat still or stood or walking, whatever you're doing, but it has the ability to transport you. Music transcends and transports us, and it takes us back to a time when, and it puts us in that place with that feeling. Like I said, the first song that holds any memory link for me as a song is Amazing Grace, and it was at my grandmother's funeral, and I was 11, 10. And now, to this day, if I hear Amazing Grace, I get cold shivers, and I usually end up in tears because of the song. The other night there was a song on a movie on TV that my dad used to sing to my mother, and I haven't heard it in years, and all of a sudden, it wasn't even being sung, to be honest. On the TV, it was being used as a background track like a band was playing it and people were dancing on the dance floor in the movie, but I recognized the song straight away, and I could hear my dad singing, and I burst into tears on the couch, floods of tears, which is, really, really weird how it can transport you. It can take you to that place. It can do things for you and remind you of your journey, remind you of how far you've come. It's kind of funny. I tend to find it difficult to listen to opera. Makes me a little different to the others on my course. I find it easier once I have to learn the piece or being in the opera. Then I get great memories from it. Yeah, I think Daisy, for everyone, in order for you to love, appreciate, validate a piece of music, it has to have some sort of connection to you. And I agree. Listening to opera sometimes, or even classical music sometimes, because I'm just listening to a track, it might not grab me as much or make me feel as much as if I have a connection to it, like I was in that show or I heard that piece of music when. If it's just a piece of music being played for me or that I'm listening to and I have no connection or memory of it, it's more difficult to kind of sustain listening to it if it's operatic or classical. But any music from the Nutcracker Ballet, I now instantly will recognize because I love that ballet. And that's sort of classical operatic in places, depending on how they perform it and do it. But even if it's on a TV commercial now, I will recognize the piece of music and go, oh, that's from the Nutcracker. And because I enjoy the Nutcracker, I will have a connection to the piece of music for me. But that's entirely up to each and every individual. Tend to wake up with a random song in my head most mornings. Have started to make a note of them. Good. The latest one, I have the words light up in my head. Light up, for if you have a choice, even if you cannot hear my voice, I'll be right beside you, dear. I love that song. Louder, louder. That's a gorgeous song. And actually, that's quite a nice emotive song to wake up to. I used to wake up to, I put it on my alarm. It's not on my phone anymore, but I used to have it on my alarm. And instead of having an alarm noise, I used to have that song Happy by whatever his name is with the hat. Anyway, I had the song Happy, and I used to wake up every morning to Happy. And although it would shock me awake because I'd be asleep and then like wake up with this song starting off, it has a nice sort of intro, like dum 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 dum. It might sound crazy, but I'm not to say. But the sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beats, and then it starts singing. And the beats would wake me up, and then I'd be smiling because of the song. And it actually did put me in a really, really good frame of mind for the whole day. It's the weirdest thing. And I used to giggle about it. I used to be sitting like, 3, 4 hours later doing my thing and then just thinking about when I woke up this morning to that song with that sort of doof, 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 and then the song. So yeah, I just think whatever connection you have to music is so, so, so important and so valid. That's the other thing. It's so valid to have a meaningful connection to music because it does tend to transport us and to take us places. We've got movement next, speaking of transport. 28 comes to a 10, 10 comes to a 1. Movement here, for me, this is a card. I'm from Africa. This is a card about an ostrich, and the ostrich will either typically stick its head in the sand and avoid confrontation, or an ostrich will react and run like the wind. And this card for me at the moment, when I pick it up, when I read it for people, the meaning has slightly altered for me, and I get to a point where right now it just feels like this card is more about the idea of like, don't put your head in the sand, don't try and ignore the problem, and don't try and run away from the problem or towards the problem, depending on how you feel. I find that we need to find middle ground. We need to be somewhere between sticking our head in the sand and running full tilt towards it. Really, really, really important, because I think in middle ground you kind of find your equilibrium, you find your feet, you find your purpose. Being too extreme in one direction or the other at the moment, with the way the world is, being too polarized is not a great choice for anyone. I think everybody needs to find a happy medium by which they are prepared to work, to do, to be, etc., etc., etc. And that's what I find is great advice for people, is to, find yourself a happy medium, find yourself a great space that you are willing to function in, work in, be in, live in. And that is good for most of us, really, on a heart level, on a head level. Really, really good. Really, really good. Started downloading all the songs I wake up with and save them into playlists. And yes, Claire, also, have you started downloading them in the order that they came to you in? Or have you ordered them in the order that they came to you in? Like the first song first, the second song second? Because I almost feel like I want to say, if you look at the titles in the order that they've come to you, they make up a sentence or they give you an indication of something. It's almost like clues. It's a weird thing to say, but that's what I want to say. Yes, you have. Okay. So start looking at the titles or at the content and see if there's a story, if there's a thread that runs through them, or a storyline that runs through them. Really, really, really important to do that and see how that works. The next card I've got is Spark. Spark. What subtitles, Jane? Under my words, under me, you mean? I'll tell you what happens is when you listen to the broadcast really, really softly, Facebook decides on subtitles and they put them in place, but it's not always the same words as the person speaking. Jane, it's not always the same as the person speaking. So I'll say something and Facebook will put up what they think I've said. Once you start turning your volume up, the subtitles disappear. But when you're listening to it really soft, or when you're just watching it and reading the subtitles, then yeah. So if there's no volume, subtitles appear. If there's volume, subtitles disappear. But the subtitles aren't always very accurate. There are some very strange interpretations that they've done. It might also be because I'm South African, because my language is and accent is slightly different. So the next one I've got is Spark. In fact, this will be the last one for today. Spark, card 34. 34 comes to 7. 7's all about transformation and metamorphosis. We've had a 7 already this morning, so that seems to be our dominant number for the day. So 7 is all about metamorphosis. Metamorphosis is obviously to do with change. And the interesting thing here is Spark, for me, is about finding your passion or finding a hobby or finding an activity and then running with that. Doing the thing that makes you happy, doing the thing that gives you life, doing the thing that gives you purpose, and keep pushing forward with that. And that is how you will achieve true bliss, true equilibrium, is by finding your passion and moving in the direction of your passion. You might not always be able to do it straight away, you might not always be able to be it straight away, but the truth of the matter is, anyone who is following their passion, anyone who is following their divine guidance, will actually find that it is really, really good to keep striving in that direction and with that purpose. Always have my volume up and some of the spellings that came up were really funny. Yeah, I'm not talking about the spelling. I'm talking about, like, sometimes I'll say a word, but Facebook will interpret it as another word entirely. So it looks like I'm the one that's not cohesive, and they come up with weird combinations of things that they think I've said. But that's, I think, because of the accent and because of speech recognition and stuff. I don't think it's broad enough to pick up the accent and or the inference. And sometimes I speak quietly and sometimes I speak loudly, so it depends on how much the microphone's actually picking up and how they are interpreting it. But really, really weird. Right, so we are live Monday through Friday, 10 till 10:30 in the morning, roughly, each day. Monday through Friday. We're also live on a Tuesday and Thursday night. Tuesdays for development, Thursdays for mediumship. Both of those are £5 a session per person, can be booked through me. Get hold of me and I will give you the links and give you the link up to get into it and to take part in it if that is what you wish. Both evenings are interactive and hosted through Zoom, as we are able to see here and speak to each other, and they are from 8 until 9:30 every week, 8 until 9:30, Tuesday and Thursday nights. And then Sunday nights we have our Psychic Sunday. That's from 7:30 until 8:30, and that involves me pulling cards for individual people. So if any of that interests you, please do join in. If you need anything, please do message me and I will be sure to try and message you back as soon as possible with my response, answer, help, advice, whatever you require. And then not to forget, on the 27th, Saturday the 27th, we are hosting our next workshop. It is a workshop on chakras. It is chakras are basically the energy centers within the body that form a vertical line throughout the body. The 7 main chakras will be our main focus. We'll also discuss briefly the 5 additional chakras whose information has come back to us. It's a 4-hour workshop from 10 till 2, and it costs £30 per person. If you'd like to take part, you're going to need to prepay and pre-book your spaces and let me know, because then the notes will be sent out to you. There are notes that come along with the course, with the workshop, and those get emailed out to you beforehand along with access codes to get into the actual workshop. And that's for Saturday the 27th, and that is from 10 until 2 UK time. And should you wish to take part, it is £30 per person. Get your bookings in now, because spaces do go quite quickly, and I do limit spaces so that I can give attention to each and every one of the students that attend the workshop. That being said, I hope that you have a fantastic day ahead. Please look after yourselves and each other. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup, and you're doing the best you can with the tools that you've got. Until we see each other again, be blessed, have a fantastic day, look after yourselves. Namaste.